Hi, I'm Daniel. I was the backup plan, the human wallet, the spare sibling they only remembered when the bills came due. The day I saw my parents and my sister's family boarding first class while I stood in the economy line was the day I stopped lying to myself. I'd spent most of my life being good. Not golden. Just good. Steady. Dependable. Invisible in a quiet, useful way. The one they didn't have to worry about. The one who could help, so of course, always would. At least that's how my mom framed it every time she asked me to spot her a few $100s. Just this once. "You're so lucky, Danny," she'd say with that tone like I'd won some invisible lottery. No kids, no mortgage, no real responsibilities. Yeah, lucky me. So I paid. I paid for electric bills, surprise car repairs, Liam's braces, Emily's art camp, half the down payment on Sarah's minivan, and a dozen other little things no one ever remembered later. I joke about it sometimes. Guess I'm the family CFO now. But the truth didn't feel funny. It felt hollow. But I told myself it was fine. Because I was doing okay. I had a good job, no debt, a small apartment that was mine. I was saving. Slowly, surely, for something big. Italy. That was the dream. Not just for the pizza or the ruins or the sunsets over the Amalfi Coast, but because it would be mine. My trip. My time. My joy. I'd saved for 2 years. Didn't tell anyone, just booked the flights, reserved the Airbnbs, even mapped out my days. I wanted this untouched, unspoiled. A little rebellion wrapped in passport stamps. Then I got to the airport. Checked in. Took my seat in the economy boarding group like a normal, boring guy who worked hard and didn't expect much. And then I heard her. "Liam, honey, you don't need the neck pillow, the seats are huge." Sarah. I turned, and there they were, Sarah, my niece and nephew, my parents, laughing, relaxed, decked out in color-coordinated travel outfits like a goddamn Instagram ad. Standing in the first-class line. At first I thought I was hallucinating. Like I had travel fever. Or maybe my body was short-circuiting from the stress of finally doing something for myself. But then I heard it. "Oh, I still feel bad we couldn't take Danny," my mom said, shaking her head. "And Sarah?" Sarah snorted. "He wouldn't have fit in." They laughed. They laughed. And something inside me, something small, and tired, and invisible, snapped. I didn't confront them. Didn't scream across the terminal, or stage some dramatic soap opera scene between rows of boarding passengers. I just stood there. Watched them waltz past the priority gate like they owned the sky, like I didn't exist. Then I got on my flight. Middle seat. No legroom. A baby crying somewhere nearby. But I didn't care. My heart was hammering, not from excitement, not anymore, but from something darker. That cold churn of realization that slaps you in the face and whispers, you were never really part of them, were you? Italy was beautiful. Perfect even. The ancient streets of Rome. The sleepy canals of Venice. Late-night pasta in Florence. I smiled in pictures, wandered through ruins, filled journal pages with things I saw and tasted and loved. But at night, sitting on balcony railings overlooking glowing piazzas, their laughter haunted me. He wouldn't have fit in. The way they said it. Not just dismissive, mocking. Like I was a punchline in their happy family comedy. I didn't call. Didn't text. It was the first time I didn't check in with them on a trip, or send photos, or ask if they needed anything. And God, it felt good. The silence was this warm, weightless thing I didn't know I had been missing. Then I came home. And the call started. "Hey sweetheart, how was your trip?" My mom chirped like nothing had happened. "It was great," I said, cool and flat. "Oh good, good. So listen, your dad and I are just a little tight this month. Groceries and all. Just some help to float us, you know how it is." And I laughed. Not a happy laugh. A sharp, bitter laugh that slipped out before I could stop it. "Groceries?" I asked. "You mean the ones you picked up on your way back from first class?" Silence. Then that nervous little chuckle she always used when she was caught. "Danny, that was different." We used smiles. And Sarah found a great deal. "Don't." I cut her off. "Sweetheart, it's not what you think. You could have taken me, I said quietly. You just didn't want to. And there it was. That slow, awful silence that filled the phone like fog. We didn't think you'd mind, she finally said. And that was the moment. The moment I stopped being the family's safety net. The moment I realized I wasn't even an afterthought, I was a resource. A wallet. A backup plan. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I just said, no more. And I meant it. 2 days later, Sarah called. I almost didn't answer. But some part of me, morbid curiosity, or maybe just the stupid leftover instinct to be the good brother, picked up. What do you want, Sarah? I said, skipping hello. Oh, so now you're too good to answer your own family? She snapped, going straight for the guilt baton. I smirked. First class must have really spoiled you. She sighed, exasperated. Oh my God, Danny! Are you seriously mad about that? Grow up. I am, I said, voice calm. That's why I'm done taking care of you. Pause. Then that voice. The soft, sugary, fake nice voice she used when she wanted something. Danny, come on. You know how hard things are for us. You don't have kids. You don't have real expenses. It's different for you. Right, I said. And yet I'm the one who paid for Liam's soccer fees last month. Well, yeah, because you always do, she said, like I was the crazy one. Like it was a fact of life, gravity, taxes Danny pays. Not anymore, I said simply. Pause. And then, oh my God, she scoffed. You're actually serious. Wow. You are such a selfish little. Click. I hung up. And for the first time in my entire life, I felt free. The silence didn't last long. Next morning, 15 missed calls. Voicemails. Texts. A full-blown family freakout. Mom. Daniel, I don't know what's gotten into you, but this is not okay. We're family. Families help each other. Call me back. Dad. Son, don't be dramatic. You know your sister, and the kids need your help. Just be reasonable. Sarah. Are you actually ignoring Mom and Dad? Wow. You really think you're better than us now? I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I made a cup of coffee. Sat on my couch. Let the quiet settle over me like a warm blanket. For the first time in years, nobody needed something from me. By noon, the guilt trips had turned into panic. Another call from my mom, I let it go to voicemail. Then a text. Mom, Danny, please. We have a problem. I rolled my eyes. Here we go again. Mom, it's about the house. That stopped me cold. I stared at the screen. Debated ignoring it. But some old reflex, probably decades of programming, made me call. What now? I asked, before she could even say hello. Her voice cracked. Daniel, your father and I, we didn't want to worry you, but we're behind on the mortgage. I pinched the bridge of my nose. And you're just telling me this now? We didn't want to bother you, she said quickly. But now, we need your help. Help? I repeated. You mean pay it? Just this month? She rushed to say. Just to keep us afloat until things settle. Huh, I said, leaning back. Kind of funny how you could afford first class, but not your mortgage. Silence. Then, it wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. I snapped. You didn't think twice about dropping thousands on Sarah's kids. But when it comes to me? Nothing. Not even a seat on the damn plane. That's not fair. She snapped back. You don't understand what it's like to raise children. To have real responsibilities. You're right. I said, ice in my voice. Because instead of having my own life, I've spent years paying for yours. More silence. Then a quiet, trembling voice. Danny, we need you. I closed my eyes. I know, I said. But this time, you're on your own. And I hung up. No guilt. No second thoughts. Just silence. And freedom. 3 days. That's how long the quiet lasted before Sarah showed up at my door like a human hurricane in high heels. I heard the knock, ignored it, heard it again, louder, angrier, and sighed. I wasn't in the mood, but if I didn't open it, she'd probably start pounding like she was about to file a police report. When I finally cracked the door, she shoved past me without so much as a hello. "What is wrong with you?" she hissed, tossing her purse on my kitchen counter like she owned the place. I blinked. "Well, this is cozy." "Don't," she snapped, pointing a manicured finger at me. "Mom is losing her mind. Dad's freaking out. And now I'm stuck dealing with all of it because you've decided to have a little tantrum." I raised an eyebrow. "You mean you're finally dealing with things? For once." "Oh my God!" she groaned. "Don't be so dramatic. You know they need help." I nodded slowly. "Yes. And now you're helping them. Isn't that interesting?" She rolled her eyes like I was some idiot. "Danny, this is because you're jealous. Admit it." I stared. "Jealous?" "Yes," she said, flailing a hand. "This whole thing, this weird little protest, it's all because we didn't invite you on that trip. God, grow up." I laughed. Out loud. I couldn't help it. "You actually think this is about a vacation?" She froze. So I took a step closer. Calm. Controlled. Words sharp and slow like a scalpel. "No, Sarah. This is about the fact that for years, I've been the one keeping this family afloat. I paid the bills. I helped your kids. I sent money when Mom said she forgot to pay the heating. And not once, was I treated like anything more than an ATM." She crossed her arms, defensive now. "That's not true. Isn't it?" I said, voice rising. "When was the last time Mom called me just to say hi? When was the last time Dad asked how I was doing? When have you ever offered to help me with anything?" Silence. "I didn't say anything at the airport," I continued, "because I wanted to believe it was a mistake. That maybe you'd saved up, that maybe you got some deal, that maybe, just maybe, it wasn't personal. And then I heard you laugh." Her face paled. "You said I wouldn't have fit in?" She opened her mouth, probably to say it was a joke or I misunderstood. But she closed it again. Because she knew. She knew what she said. "So no," I said. "This isn't about the trip. It's about me finally realizing that I was never part of your family unless you needed money." She looked at the floor, then back at me, eyes hard. "Fine," she said, grabbing her purse. "Do whatever you want. But don't come crawling back when you realize what a mistake you've made." I smiled. Not smug. Not cruel. Just calm. "Don't worry," I said. "I won't." She slammed the door on her way out. I poured myself a drink. Sat on the couch. Let the silence settle back in like an old friend. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like the bad guy. I felt like a man who'd finally picked himself. After Sarah's dramatic storm out, I braced myself. I knew my parents wouldn't stay quiet for long. They'd cycle back around, grief, guilt, gaslighting. It was their greatest hits tour, and I'd been a loyal fan for years. Right on cue, the next day I got the text. "Dad, dinner? Sunday. We need to talk." Not, "We miss you." Not, "How are you?" Just that cold, corporate-sounding line. Like a summons. Like I was being called into HR. So I replied, I'm busy." 60 seconds later, my phone rang. I sighed, answered, and leaned back on my couch. "What?" I said flatly. "Daniel," my dad said, his voice trying to sound firm and fatherly. "Enough is enough. You're acting childish." "Am I?" I replied. "Because from where I'm sitting, I'm the only adult in this conversation." He paused. Exhaled hard. "Son, you're making this harder than it needs to be. We're family. Families don't abandon each other." I almost laughed. "Abandon?" I echoed. "Like how you abandoned me at the airport?" Silence. Just his breath on the line, like he hadn't expected me to bring it up. Or maybe he hoped I hadn't noticed. "That's not fair," he finally muttered. "We didn't mean anything by that." "Maybe not," I said, "but you did not mean it either." Another silence. Then the pivot. "Your mother's very upset," he said, slipping back into that old guilt-drenched tone. "She's been crying over this. She just wants things to go back to normal." There it was. The appeal to emotion. The plea for restoration. Translation: she misses your money. So do I said. But normal meant me being a doormat, and I'm done with that. That's not what this is, he said, suddenly defensive. Then why are you only calling me now? I shot back. Why didn't you check in when I was in Italy? Or the week before? Or the week before that? Why is it always when you need something? Silence. Longer this time. Heavy. I don't know what you want from us, Daniel, he said finally, his voice tinged with exhaustion. Nothing, I replied. That's the whole point. And I hung up. That was phase 1. Phase 2 was desperation. Over the next week, I waited for the other shoe to drop. It didn't take long. A text from Sarah lit up my screen one night like a flare gun. Sarah, I hope you're happy. Mom and Dad are in trouble because of you. I rolled my eyes. Here we go. Me, they'll manage. Sarah, no, actually they won't. They're 2 months behind on their mortgage. The bank's sending notices. But I guess that doesn't matter to you, does it? Me, didn't matter when you were buying first-class tickets. Sarah, oh my God, let it go. Me, it was the one time I saw the truth. She didn't respond after that. The next morning, my mom called again. I picked up. Danny, she said, her voice fragile, shaky, rehearsed. We're in trouble. So I've heard, I said. The bank, they're threatening foreclosure. She sniffled. I said nothing. I know things have been tense, she continued, but we, your parents, were asking for help. Just this once. I almost laughed. The exact phrase they'd used the first time they ever asked for money. Just this once. No, I said. Danny. No, I repeated. She went quiet, then snapped. You're being selfish. After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? Done for me? I asked. Name one thing. Just one thing you've done for me in the last 5 years that didn't involve asking for money. Nothing. Not a word. That was my final answer. Good luck, Mom, I said. Click. A week passed. Then I heard the news. Sarah had caved. She dipped into her own savings, real savings, to help my parents. Mortgage, utilities, even some credit card debt that had apparently been growing like mold behind drywall. But now it was her problem. And it was hitting hard. I heard through a mutual friend that Sarah and her husband were fighting. Constantly. Apparently he hadn't even known how much my parents relied on me. Their finances were straining. Their perfect little life unraveling. And my parents? They were finally learning what it meant to struggle. Without me, the scaffolding collapsed. And I had never felt lighter. Weeks passed. And then more. My phone stayed silent. No calls. No texts. No new emergencies. No please disguised as check-ins. Just quiet. It was unsettling at first. Like waiting for an earthquake after the tremors had stopped. But then the stillness became peaceful. Like stepping out of a crowded room and realizing how loud it had been only once the door shuts. I got used to it fast. My paychecks were mine. Every cent. No last-minute Venmos to Sarah. No. Just a bit for groceries. From Mom. No. This is the last time, son. From Dad. I bought new furniture. Splurged on a high-end espresso machine that would have once made me feel guilty for days. Booked another trip, Japan this time. I'd always dreamed of it. And now, with no family leeching my savings dry, I made it happen. Cherry blossoms. Bullet trains. Late-night ramen. I didn't send pictures. Didn't answer calls. Just existed. For me. Then one night, scrolling through Instagram in my hotel room, I saw it. A tagged photo from one of Sarah's friends, her and her husband at dinner. The caption read, "Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Hang in there, Sarah Redheart." I tilted my head. Clicked on her profile. And that's when I realized, her entire timeline had gone dark. No birthday pics of the kids. No beach vacations. No humble brags about another successful week, or the latest home upgrades. Just nothing. Then came the message. Kelly, Sarah's friend. Hey Danny. I don't know if I should be reaching out, but I thought you should know things are really bad back home. I stared at it. Then replied, "Me, why are you telling me this?" "Kelly, because I know how much you did for them. And now that you've stopped, well, it's all falling apart." A few minutes later, another ping. A screenshot. It was from a group chat. One Sarah was in. A private one. I shouldn't have looked. But I did. "Sarah, Danny is such a fool. He's just sitting there watching us suffer like we deserve it. Sarah, I had to drain my savings just to keep Mom and Dad afloat, and they're still drowning. Sarah, we can't keep doing this. Mark is pissed. He says this is all their fault for relying on Danny for so long. Sarah, I swear to God, if he doesn't come crawling back soon." I stopped reading. Crawling back? She still thought I was the one who needed them. I laughed. Actually laughed. Alone in a Tokyo apartment with the city lights flickering through the window, I laughed like I had finally shed the last dead layer of my old life. Then came the final call. Unknown number. I almost declined it. But something told me to answer. "Hello?" A pause. Then, "Daniel." My father. His voice was flat. Worn down. Like someone who had tried every tool in his kit and realized none of them worked anymore. "What do you want?" I asked. He sighed. "Listen. We need to talk." "We really don't," I said. "Daniel, enough is enough. You've made your point. But we're your parents. And this is getting ridiculous." I smirked. "Ridiculous? You mean me not handing over my money like a piñata with a trust fund?" He snapped. "You abandoned your family over a stupid vacation." There it was. The last lie they told themselves. That this was about one moment. "No," I said quietly. "You abandoned me long before that. The vacation just showed me who you really are." Silence. "Your mother's not well," he said finally. "She's upset. Stressed. Sarah's struggling. She needs help." I laughed again. "Oh, so now Sarah needs me. She's drowning. Mark's talking about selling the house. The kids don't understand what's going on. Not my problem. Daniel, be reasonable." "I am," I said. "For the first time in my life, I am being completely reasonable." Another long, heavy pause. "So that's it?" he asked, voice tight. "You're just walking away?" "You walked away first," I reminded him. "At the airport. Remember?" Silence. Then, bitter and clipped, he said, "Fine." And he hung up. That was the last time I ever heard from my father. No more voicemails. No more texts. Not even on my birthday. Sarah stopped messaging altogether. A month later, I heard through a friend that Sarah and Mark had sold their house. Moved into a smaller place outside the city. My parents had downsized too. Their dream retirement? Gone. The golden life they built off my back? Collapsed. They spent years pretending they were better than me. That they didn't need me. And now they finally knew what life without me felt like. And I was free. Not just from their bills or burdens. From their expectations. From their silence when I needed them. From their love with conditions. I didn't owe them my money. I didn't owe them my forgiveness. I blocked their numbers. Took a deep breath. And never looked back. For the first time in my life, I was living for me. And it felt king incredible.